Hey beautiful mama, welcome back to Mom for Every Season. Yeah, my voice is very raspy today. I'm fighting off a cold, and this doesn't normally sound like me, and now I'm like, should I even be doing this video today? Alright, let's just do it, okay? This is just me in the moment. If you're brand new, my name is Taryn, and here I love to help moms ditch the overwhelm and live a life of ease so that they can live their most extraordinary mom life. So, couple things before I share the tips, but obviously right now, yes, I have a cold and my voice is very raspy. And 3 things that I need to just clarify. Number 1, I am not a perfect mom. Number 2, nobody is a perfect mom. And number 3, yes, I have obviously lost my patience with my kids. I've yelled at them and felt guilty. But the thing is, we're all human and we all make mistakes, and that's how we learn and grow. So when I'm sharing these tips, I'm not claiming to be the perfect patient mom. I'm not always calm, but these obviously have helped me grow my patience and be a more calm mom. So just keep that in mind when I'm sharing these, and try not feeling guilty for those moments that you have lost your patience or you've yelled at your kids. That, again, we are all learning, we're all humans, and that's what we're here for. Okay, so the first few tips, I think the first 5 tips are more proactive tips. So these are going to help you, maybe not necessarily obviously in the moment, but they are definitely needed so that you are your best version, your best mom. Best version mom self, and they're just as important. And then the next few tips after that are more for when you're in that moment, when you're in that fight or flight response, when you are amped up. These will help you navigate those kind of areas when you're needing them the most. So, and then I also stick around to the end as well, because I will be sharing kind of more of a 5-step process that, again, will be more for in the moment, that will help you. The first tip, and this one basically sets you up for everything else, but just realizing that you can become more patient. And I haven't always been a patient mom, and I haven't always been a calm mom. And I know even my own mom is always like, oh, you're so patient with your kids. And it's not, that's the thing, it's not a characteristic. It's not like I was born patient. I mean, sure, people tend to, have personality qualities or temperaments, but patience is like a muscle, and you can grow it, obviously, and the more you practice it, the better it will get. So just keeping in mind that, yes, if you are feeling more of an impatient mom, or you're more easily frazzled, that it can change. So being hopeful and mindful that, yes, you can change it. Okay, number 2, and I know this might be hard for some, especially moms with newborns, but waking up before my kids, whether that is 5 minutes or an hour, or sometimes I get a full hour and a half that I wake up, and I'm pretty new at this whole morning thing. I am definitely a night person, but I've changed that. And I know I posted a couple other videos on my morning routine, and this literally sets up my day for success and to be productive. And I get the things done that I need to first, so that when my kids do wake up, that I can give them my full attention. And I'm, not just thrown into my day. Like, I get to connect with myself, and I get to spend some quiet time. I get to spend, time doing things, time on things that I love, right? And I'm not committed to anybody else except for me. And yes, I know this might be hard for some, and it's taken me, quite a while to get to. I mean, initially I started off just doing 5 minutes, and then I did 15 minutes. I set my alarm, and I'm a very heavy sleeper. It's taken a lot of time to train myself to wake up and not hit the snooze button. But like, my morning routine has been life-changing, and I, cannot reiterate that enough. So, of course, it can be more difficult for some. I mean, if you have a newborn and you're waking up all throughout the night, then really your only priority at that point is sleep. Which brings me into the next kind of tip or insight, is to lower your expectations. And you know what, I tell my husband this all the time and we laugh about it now. But again, so if you have a newborn, you know what, having a tidy, clean house is not, that's not a priority. Like getting your sleep and, getting your nutrition and feeling good about yourself, spending time on yourself and with your, kids, that's your priority, especially if your little one is like under a year. Or even just, I've really had to lower my expectations on having a clean house. Like I've just accepted the fact that I'm not gonna have a spick and span, organized, clean house with 3 kids, all under the age of 7 right now. And you know what, I'll clean it and it takes them literally 2 seconds to make a mess of it. So rather than getting impatient and annoyed with them for making a mess, I let it go. It's just one of those things I've learned to let go. So finding areas that you can, just slightly lower your expectations. Maybe that is lowering your expectations on your to-do list and giving yourself grace. Like a lot of times I just have to give myself grace that I am doing the best that I can in the moment with what I know and just letting the rest of it go. Number 4 is monkey see, monkey do. And I, lots of times have to put a mirror on myself because obviously if I want my kids to be calm and be able to regulate their emotions well, and express themselves in a positive manner, that I need to be able to do that too. If I model that, then that's how they're gonna learn. And they learn better by seeing. They're not gonna learn by me sitting there, yelling at them or, getting mad. So a lot of times in those moments when I'm about to get frustrated or yell at them, then I can put that mirror on myself and I say, like, is this how I want them to act towards me? And if it's no, obviously I need to step back and either take a breath, take a moment to myself to calm down, because they are going to model us and that's how they're learning. Okay, number 5 is looking at the grand scheme of things, like the big picture. And because I find that a lot of times when I'm growing impatient, it kind of has to do around my own time, my own personal time and what I'm working on or my to-do list. So like for instance, last year when I first started my YouTube channel, I would get super frustrated and super impatient when my kids would wake up and I was trying to edit. And I would just get really amped up, like I'm not getting the things that I want done. And then it would lead, obviously I would feel annoyed or frustrated, impatient. And then I really had to look at the grand scheme of things, that why am I doing these things? Like, why am I doing this YouTube channel? Why am I, trying to create a business? Why, it can go anywhere. Like, why do I want a clean house? And when I look at my reasoning for why, a lot of it, I would say 99% of the time, it always comes back to my kids. That, I want to provide a good future for them. I want to have a clean and tidy house for them. So when it comes back to that in the grand scheme of things and I look out at the bigger picture, it involves my kids. So if I'm sitting here being impatient and frustrated at them, it kind of makes, it's kind of contradicts itself. And it really, puts a spin on it that I'm like, okay, I need to take a step back here and I need to look at this again, because obviously my kids are one of my number 1 priorities, and I value family and I value family time. So if that's what I value and that's my priority, I need to, when they are in that moment, I need to let them be that moment, if that makes sense. I hope that's kind of rambling, but so is there something that, if you are getting frustrated or, impatient with around something, just looking at that grand scheme of things and just getting really curious, questioning, what is my why? Why am I doing this? And I guarantee to you, it most likely will be, your kids will probably most likely be in some part of your reasoning. When you can look at it from the bigger picture, it grounds you right away. And it kind of snaps you out of that kind of fight or flight moment, or that frustrated moment. It snaps you right out. Number 6 is obviously realizing that kids are meant to push boundaries. Kids are learning their independence. They're learning, how far they can push their boundaries. And when I can think of it in that way, that, you know, they're not just mischievous little rebellions, that of course they want to be their own person. And I know this so much because my 7-year-old she's very fierce. She is strong-willed and very opinionated, but I don't really want to damper that as well. I want to keep that in her. I want to instill that in her, because when she's an adult, I don't want her to be this obedient little child that doesn't, well, she'd be an adult, but I don't want her to be this obedient adult that, you know, gets walked all over. I want her to stick up for herself, and I want her, you know, to have her say in the world. And I mean, there's tons, you can look up tons of research and different parenting techniques and all of that, and parenting blogs, and all of them will say the same thing, that kids are meant to. We're not in the 1950s, we're not in the 1900s anymore. Like, parenting has changed from, you know, back then, and even since we were kids, right? Like, a lot of back then, you know, you had to respect your parents and not talk back, and I mean, obviously those still are true to a certain extent. I want her to be able to share her thoughts and her feelings and not be scared to tell me something, because of course, as she grows up as a teenager, like, I want her to be able to come to me when she has problems. And so if I shut her down right away and don't listen to her, then that's, you know, just gonna, you know, become worse as she grows up as well. When I know that children are just, their brains are wired that way, and that it's normal for kids to do that. It's not that your kid is misbehaving or you're a bad parent, or, you know, I'm not raising my child right or whatever. When I know that from that perspective, that, you know what, even the kid down the street is, you know, pushing boundaries, or the next, you know, the kids at school, or every single child does this. Like, sure, some do it more than others. Like, my 7-year-old is definitely more strong-willed so far than my 3-year-old. I mean, time will tell, like, obviously, but it's normal for them to push boundaries, and it's not they're disrespecting us. They're not disrespecting parents. They're not, you know, misbehaving. So just even that slight little perspective change, you know, opens so much more patience. It opens up more empathy. Okay, 3 tips for more. These are kind of more for in the moment, but kind of just changing the perspective or changing the approach. So if you are getting frustrated and impatient when your kid, you know, isn't going to bed, or, you know, not cleaning up, or not brushing their teeth, something like that, then just trying to change the approach. And for me, I always try and make it more fun. So even just the other day, my son decided to take out all of the shoes out of our front closet and lock Grandma out of the house because she was over for a visit. And so he took all the shoes out, and I was like, well, who's gonna clean this up now? And of course he said he was, but when it came up to clean up time, he was like, no. He absolutely refused. And I had to make a game out of it rather than, you know, I noticed my frustration and my impatience, and I was like, okay, wait a second, let's just make this more fun. So we did an I Spy game. So I was like, do you spy some pink sparkly shoes? And he would find his sister's shoes. Do you find a pair of little tiny shoes? And he found his other sister's shoes. And just making a game out of it and doing it a different way, changing the approach of it, will help. You know, their kids are wired for fun. They want more fun. They don't like cleaning. I don't know about you, but my kids hate cleaning. So I've just tried to make it more fun. And a lot of times that means that I have to get involved a little bit, even though I didn't make the mess, and I want them to listen. I want them just to clean it up. But if I can join in, make it a game, they will most likely help out. In the moment is taking a breath. And I say this so many times in my video, like I feel like I'm like just reiterating the same thing and I'm being repetitive, but your breath is the most powerful thing. I tell my 7-year-old this all the time. Your breath is the most powerful thing you have on earth right now. It's like a superpower. And if you can just take, you know, even if you have to remove yourself, count to 10, taking a nice deep breath, taking 10 deep breaths, so that you aren't getting into that reactive fight or flight mode. This will help calm you. It will help put you in the present moment. And a lot of times I do remove myself. I say, okay, I need some time. I'm just gonna go close the door for a second. But the key here is I always say that it's that I'm saying it because I need it. I need to calm down my body, because I've had my daughter tell me, like, I feel like you don't love me when you leave the room. And like that crushed me. So I've had to flip it, that I say, no, I'm taking time. I'm modeling that I need to remove myself from this situation. I'm modeling that I need to calm down. And I'm just making sure, obviously I'm not gonna leave if they're not safe, or like my youngest is trying to climb the stairs or whatever, but even if it's just for 3 seconds, I remove myself, close the door. We have a laundry room, and I like will remove myself and put myself in that door, behind that door, not in the door. And I just say, and a lot of times, you know, they're sitting there outside like crying for me, but as soon as I can calm myself down, I will put myself back there and be present with them and not come from a reactive state. Okay, number 3 is getting outdoors, getting outside, getting in nature, moving. And I did this this last weekend. You know, our household was just kind of in a funk. We were all in bad moods. The kids were driving us nuts. They were constantly fighting. They woke up fighting. They had breakfast fighting. They were like, you know, fighting during play. Like, it was just like, okay, everybody, I'm going for a walk. If you'd like to join, you are welcome to. I was like, I'm taking Avery, who's 1. I'm like, I'm going out the door. So if you want to come. And we went out, and actually funny enough, it rained. We got stuck in a little thunder shower. But luckily we were covered under a picnic area, and it actually kind of made me laugh. I was like, this is hilarious. I'm the one that wanted us to get out, and we got stuck in a little thunder shower. But it died off quick, and then we went to the playground and we had fun, and the kids were smiling. I think too, we all have colds too, so that didn't really help this weekend. I mean, we were in a much better mood afterwards for a little bit, and it felt good to get outdoors. And I always really connect with nature, and I just love being outside. It always puts me in a better mood. So if the kids are going, you know, stir crazy, I'm like, okay, let's get out the door. So, and that will help with patience. Get back to neutral zone. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a big like. And I don't know, I'd love to know, like, what do you find is the biggest struggle when it comes to your child's behavior? Like, are there certain moments or certain times of the day? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know if you have any further questions. I always love to know what kind of content you guys love too. So if you have any other questions or video ideas for me, let me know in the comments down below. And I really hope you found this helpful. And again, just know that no one is perfect. No one is a perfect mom. So just let that go. Give yourself a lot of grace. We are all here learning as human beings, learning to be better parents, learning to be better mothers, and just better people in general. But we also need to give ourselves grace in those moments. So that is it for now. I always end my videos with, in case you haven't heard this today, you are an amazing mom and you got this, mama. So that's it for now. Bye for now.